I now come to the Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Angela Rayner.
Mr Speaker, I'm glad to see the right honourable gentleman here today. I think I'm right in saying that I have the pleasure again next week, 2 weeks on the trot. They really have given up. Every day, 4,000 families' mortgages deals expire, 100,000 more since we last met, and millions more next year. Families are sick with worry about the cost of the Tory mortgage bombshell. Do they still claim to be the party of home ownership?
Good luck with that.
Right honourable lady, but actually some leaders trust their deputies to stand in for them.
Mr Speaker, we've had 13 years of Conservative failures, and that homeowners watching that pathetic answer will be cringing that they aren't celebrating the government's success, they're counting the cost of their failures, and the only thing that's not soaring in prices at the moment is his gags that are getting cheaper by the minute. And Mr Speaker, it's not just homeowners that are suffering. Security of renters have been ripped away too, with higher mortgage costs handed directly to them. Given most renters live in homes with buy-to-let mortgage, can he tell us, are buy-to-let properties included in their mortgage support package, yes or no?
Deputy. Angela Rayner.
Mr Speaker, I know the Deputy Prime Minister isn't very good on facts, but their party did crash the economy. And he will know that according to his own government's data, over 2 million buy-to-let properties are missing out on support. No-fault evictions are up by 116% this year. So will he tell us if the Prime Minister has a spine now to stand up to the vested interests in his own party and finally deliver their promise to ban no-fault evictions?
Well, I don't think the Prime Minister is going to take any lectures on weakness from the party opposite. I remember there's a lot of talk about reshuffle in the air from the Labour Party. The last time the leader of the Labour Party tried to sack the right honourable lady, she walked out with a promotion.
Mr Speaker, that answer is pathetic for all those people that are facing homelessness on his watch. We will ban no-fault evictions, Mr Speaker, unlike the party opposite. And Jessica and her 4 children from Plymouth were evicted from their home in April. They're temporarily living with Jessica's mother in a cramped house where her 2 eldest children are sleeping on blow-up beds in the front room surrounded by their belongings. Hardly the decent, secure life that his government promised. Don't families like Jessica deserve better?
Yes.
Deputy Prime Minister.
I'll tell you what we're doing for families like Jessica's.
Rayner.
Mr Speaker, I asked a question about no-fault evictions. I was very clear on what the Labour Party would do, but I can't see us getting through a single one of these encounters without the Deputy Prime Minister blaming the opposition for his government's own record. When asked yesterday about the record low number of council houses being built, the Housing Minister says she didn't recognise that statistic. When asked about support for people in temporary accommodation, she said it wasn't her brief, the brief of the Housing Minister. So if council housing isn't her responsibility, whose is it?
Well, the party opposite may have failed to notice is actually under this government that more council houses were built than when they were in office.
Mr Speaker, talking about broken promises, house building is set to collapse to its lowest level since the war. Rents and mortgages are soaring, home ownership is plummeting, and over 1 million people are trapped waiting for a council house. There is one simple solution to this problem, and everyone knows it. So when will he finally stand up for the national interest instead of their own interests and build more houses?
Prime Minister.
She takes the union cash and she constantly talks Britain down. That's why we will do everything we can to keep Labour out of people's pockets, out of their lives and out of government.
Staff in our health services across these aisles. And as we celebrate the 75th anniversary of the health services in the UK, I want to reflect on two quotes from two people. The first one is, it's about using the private sector more, something we should be very comfortable with. The second quote is, people go as NHS patients to the private sector and we could do more of it. Can I ask the Deputy Prime Minister which quote is from the PM and which is from the Leader of the Opposition?
And may I also say, I'm sure she will wish to join me in celebrating His Majesty King Charles, receiving the Scottish regalia, pretty much as we speak.
The Deputy Prime Minister, I thank him for his kind words, and we did join this place at the same time, and I'm pretty sure we'll be leaving at the same time. The number one problem that faces the health service across these aisles is workforce. And research shows that Brexit has worsened the UK's shortage of doctors. Yep. European nurses registering to work in the UK fell by 90% after the Brexit referendum. Wow. What more will it take for both him and the Labour Party to admit the damage that Brexit is causing our health services?
Well, it all started off so nicely, Mr. Speaker, but I don't know whether the Honourable Lady has actually been listening to what the government has announced this week.
Click here to see the difference between French and British protests.